Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 27th day of September, 2023, Wednesday of the 25th week of the year, the 25th week in Ordinary Time, but it is also today the memorial of St. Vincent de Paul, the 17th century founder of the religious order, Congregation of the Mission, CMs, with Saint Jane Francis de Chantal. Again, their job was to recognize the fact that there was a lot of wretchedness in the world, and a lot of poverty, and a lot of unhappiness, and a lot of unease and things like that. And what St. Vincent does and what St. Jane Francis de Chantal did was to try to alleviate that as best they could. And so again, they attract people to their work. And again, they formed other religious communities that they did. Again, in mid or early 17th century, 1600s of France, again, torn by religious wars and about ineffective government, or a government that was more interested in aristocracy and maintaining things like that, they both rise to be able to say that we can't neglect those who are less fortunate and those who are poor, which is why again today so many parishes have St. Vincent de Paul societies that seek to carry on this work that St. Jane and that Vincent de Paul did in being able to heal the world of its hurt and its brokenness. Coming to you this morning from the front stoop of the other side of the Rectory Friary. This is the one that faces Cape Charles Drive. So 2 doors. This is actually a different zip code. So whereas the parish is 27613, this is 27617. So the zip code runs through the house in which we live. So just another little tidbit of information. Today's readings continue with the book of the prophet Ezra, and again, this is great Ezra's prayer during the rededication of the temple, after again the Israelites have come back again from exile in Babylon and are now rebuilding the temple and restoring basically what had been lost in the great exile that happens. And what Ezra does is recognize the fact that the exile came because of Israel's unfaithfulness and its inability to trust, that God knew what God was doing, and that God knew what was best for Israel, and so they were delivered up to foreigners and to terrible people. Again, Babylonians were not necessarily terrible, but they did not have the best interests of the Israelites at heart. And so they went into exile, into slavery. But now again, as Ezra says, through God's mercy, they have been restored. And even if it is a remnant, it's a remnant to rebuild, a remnant to bring back what had fallen apart, which itself is very Franciscan, because that is that's what St. Francis tried to do with his life, was to bring back together what had fallen apart. And so that should be the mission of all of us, who believe that it would, in every way, shape, or form that we can, wherever we experience pain and hurt and brokenness, we try to rebuild and we try to bring back together what has fallen apart. In the gospel today, in Luke's gospel, Jesus sends out the 12 apostles. He will send out then a larger number, but he sends out the 12 apostles, telling them to preach, to heal, to preach the good news, to cast out demons and evil spirits and whatever it is. He gives them power to do that, but tells them, don't take walking sticks, don't take knapsacks, don't take anything for the journey, but the clothes that you're wearing, and you'll find lodging with people's houses. You'll eat what's in front of you, and then the whole idea: if they do not accept your message or accept you, then shake the dust, from the sandals or the shoes that you're wearing, in testimony against them. The whole idea with this, again, first, that without really any more basic training than what the apostles have experienced with Jesus, he is sending them out. Are they ill-equipped to do what it is that Jesus is saying for them to do? Probably. But Jesus has faith enough in them, at least to start something, and to let that bear good fruit. And so that faith that Jesus has, the apostles, is remarkable. But also the sense on the apostles now is the reliance upon this message that they are preaching. And so nothing to take along with comforts, nothing to sort of guarantee some kind of security or whatever it is, but leave everything in the hands of God. And so just taking the clothes that are on their backs, they go out to be able to preach, and they find lodging, and they find places to stay, and people who will feed them, and all kinds of things like that. There are some towns, again, that will not accept their preaching, other towns that do. And they will see when they return that there is a lot that they have to report about the wonderful things that they were able to do because they trusted, again, that God knows what God is doing. Something, again, the Israelites had to relearn again, and we always have to relearn in our own lives. This trust that God knows what God is doing, and that God, though, takes us seriously to enable us to be able to continue the work that Christ began. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.